Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to our podcast today. These podcasts are brought to you in part by our sponsors who really truly are what make these podcasts possible every week. O'Fallon Nutrition is a company that I've worked with for over 15 years. They're independently owned and operated, located here in O'Fallon, Missouri, right off of Highway K and Mexico Road. I call this place the Whole Foods of St. Charles County, but even if you are not located on this side of the river, it is still worth the drive. I can remember working all the way down at Powerhouse and still sending people out to O'Fallon Nutrition for their supplements. They are more than a supplement company. You can get grass-fed beef, salad dressing, seasoning for your cooking, hair care products, makeup, deodorant, toothpaste, essential oils, and all the vitamins and minerals that you can think of. If you're looking for clean, whole food nutrition, as well as home care, house care, skincare products, O'Fallon Nutrition is your place. You can take a look at them at o'fallonnutrition.com, or if you'd like to have something shipped, if you're listening to me from outside of St. Louis, you can certainly have items shipped. I know they do free shipping if it's an order over $50, and the phone number is 636-240-5283. Again, it's o'fallonnutrition.com. As well as if preparing your food on a weekly basis is your primary excuse for why you're not able to stay on a good, clean eating program, which is something that I hear very regularly from my clients, I would ask you to please take the time to check out Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com. They are a phenomenal place. We get our food from there during the week. They deliver to our Integrity location. They will deliver to your house. They also are just available for pickup. You can go to their Chesterfield location or their Kirkwood location and just pick up meals for the day, as well as just having them delivered right to your door. So if preparing your food is your main excuse for why you cannot stay on a healthy eating program, then I would suggest just stop by Pure Plates. Just try it. If you're trying to lower your blood pressure, you're trying to lower your cholesterol, you're trying to get your blood sugar down, try to do Pure Plates meals for a week and just see how different you feel. These are organic meals. They are gluten-free. If you need them to be, they can be dairy-free. They are soy-free. You're not taking any processed sugars or meat-curing agents or preservatives. They really, truly believe in nutrient-dense meals that are just whole food nutrition. And I've had my clients, or I've made recommendations for my clients for years at Pure Plates. It's pureplatesstl.com, or you can call them to ask questions at 636-778-3555. Again, remembering that they have a location in Chesterfield as well as in Kirkwood that you can just run by and pick up a meal today. Everyone always asks me where I get my meat from, and given that I really eat meat on a daily basis, typically beef primarily, my meat is very important to me. I have an autoimmune condition and I want grain-free, corn-free meat, and I just haven't found the confidence in stores in knowing that I'm getting 100% grass-fed, grass-finished beef. And I have searched and searched and searched for the right farm, and I have found the farm. It's fedfromthefarm.com, fed, F-E-D, from thefarm.com. These farmers are amazing. It's a family. They're here in Missouri, and they have the desire, just like I do, to see people well and to see people healthy, and they put a lot into what they do. It's such a wonderful family to support. They do offer 100% grass-finished, grass-fed, meaning that's it. A beef, and I get my ribeyes, I get my ground beef, my ground sirloin, I get my chuck roast. I mean, they basically have everything. They even have awesome jerky, but they also have eggs, they have chickens, and they have turkey. I'm planning on getting a turkey for Thanksgiving, and if you'd like lamb, they have that as well. But if you are in need of good quality grass-fed, grass-finished beef, or quality eggs, chicken, turkey, don't just settle for what you're getting at the local store. to go out on the internet and check out Fed from the Farm. That you can arrange a pickup or you can have it delivered to your home. And I can guarantee you're going to taste the difference. For me, my health actually depends on it. So I really thank God to have found such a great farmer. Fedfromthefarm.com. I hope it blesses you.
Welcome to Faith, Fuel, and Fitness, the Integrity Way, with your hosts, John and Debbie Morris from Integrity Training Systems.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We always like to open the beginning of our show here with you guys by talking about what it means to be a warrior. And if you've not been with us before, I'd like to give the definition of that. And a warrior is a brave or experienced soldier or fighter. And so you'll hear that there's kind of interchangeable words in two portions of that. You have brave and experienced and soldier or fighter. And I think a lot of us can say we're not soldiers unless you're in the military. Thank you for your service, and then brave or experienced, like maybe we're not brave, but I think people would be surprised to find out that they are. All bravery is moving forward into something, even though you have fear. So it's like in spite of that. So anything you do that you're afraid of while you do it, like you actually are brave. But let's say that you're not, and you've got some life experience that you've had to fight through. Well, that makes you a warrior. And if you're a warrior, that means you're capable of combating life. And so we always like to talk about things that people are going through, whether it be Debbie, myself, our family, our friends, or our clients, just to kind of put hope out there for you that you're not alone, and other people are having to overcome the same things. And if they can overcome, so can you. It's just a matter of having the mindset to do so. So I know Debbie has something she wants to talk about this segment today. So Deb, I'm just going to hand it over to you.
Well, you too. I just had a little something I thought we could start with. But I was listening to a message the other day, and it was Andy Frisella, and he was talking about winning the day. And it was a really great message. I appreciated all of the information. It was a great message. It helped me a lot. But one of the things that stood out the most was that people get stuck in a struggle story. They get stuck in talking about the struggle, and they don't expect to win anymore. And it really opened my eyes to some things, because I work with people every day that come in struggling. I mean, they talk to me about their struggles, right? I mean, people have a lot of struggles with food, so they get stuck in that struggle story of, I have tried and I have failed and I have tried and I have failed and I've tried and I've failed so many times. And they kind of come in already knowing that they're not going to succeed because they have failed so many times. They don't have any expectations of winning. And they've hired me with the thought that I'm somehow going to, drive them to this place of winning, which I'm certainly there to do. And I expect them to win. But at the end of the day, if their thinking is going to be repetitively saying that they've failed before and they've tried and they've tried and they've failed, then they likely are not going to win, because they don't have that internal expectation that they will win. And I know for me, in the past couple months, I have been trying to listen to a different narrative, because the vision that we have for the future of helping people and the way that we'd like to do it, and maybe the vision that we have for our bakery and how we'd like to grow it and increase it, it's a really big vision. And so a lot of people think you're crazy. You have to be really cautious who you talk to about it. It can be easy to wake up each day and see the mounting struggle that's attached to that big goal or that big vision. But my sort of personal warrior, tactic in the past couple of months has truly been to have that winning attitude, or to have that expectation that we're actually going to do this. We are actually going to build this facility. We are going to have a bank that will fund us. We are going to grow our bakery and ship it all over the country. And we're going to have grocery stores, and we're going to have small cafes, and we're going to have churches, and we're going to have so many people that want to buy our product, because there's nothing else out there like that. And I've just started waking up each day with this like general excitement for life. And I've always, you know me very well, I've always been a very passionate person, and I've always jumped out of bed to go to work and do what I do because I want to help people. But I've had a different zest to me because I'm like, no, we are going to do this. This is going to happen. And it's going to be great. And nothing has changed in any way, shape, or form. It's not like a bank's been like, here you go. You know what I mean? Or like all of a sudden the way is paved and we have a new location for the bakery or anything like that. Nothing like that has happened. Not one single thing. I mean, the vision board still has all the things on it that we want. But I'm different. I've changed. And I certainly do thank Andy Frisilla for that message because it honestly was a catalyst in getting my mind. I think a couple of my friends who have kind of imparted some of their tactics and the way that they do things. Iron sharpens iron, man. Andy Frisilla doesn't even know me, but his iron sharpened my iron. A good friend of mine making some suggestions sharpened my iron. And my husband sharpens my iron every single day. Number one, because he's gorgeous and just looking at him just makes me happier. But number two, he's he believes in me and he believes in the vision that I'm fighting for, and he keeps me built for the day. But I'm telling you that concept of winning and expecting to win. And if you're going to have this mighty vision in your mind and you're going to have these dreams, and you're going to have these goals and these hopes for your life, you had better expect them to come to pass and focus on that.
I mean, and you surround yourself with like-minded individuals. So you're going to surround yourself with people that have either succeeded or are looking to succeed in what you're doing. And you said that nothing has changed, but your mentality has. And what's fascinating is people will identify as glass half full people instead of glass half empty people, but they don't realize that they're just lying to themselves. And so what happens is people are like, yeah, no, I'm a positive person. I'm glass half full. Like I root for the underdog. I try to, be happy every day. But if you're actually subconsciously or even in the back of your mind allowing yourself to be controlled by the negativity, maybe you're not saying it out loud,
like a mask,
but you're saying it to yourself. You are seeing your glass as half full. And, I've been diagnosed as bipolar, okay? And I have anxiety and I have depression. The problem is that if I identify as that, I am that. So if I say, well, I'm bipolar and I have a bad day, like that could be justified as a way for me to just not do my day. Right. I'm not going to get out of bed because, I'm bipolar. I have extreme anxiety, so I'm not going to go to work today, or I'm not going to do what I know I need to do because my anxiety is crippling because my doctor told me it could be. The problem is that is contagious. So, you can look at generational curses passed down through your lineage from your family. I mean, I have a daughter, and my ex-wife, she has extreme anxiety. And if you go through our families, we've all got it. And to a certain extent, everybody's got it. And that's what I find fascinating about this current phenomenon of people talking about their feelings so much. Not that I'm against, sharing your feelings and moving on, but you can't get hung up on them. And what happens is these diagnoses are coming out across the board now. And even my ex, like one day she kept my daughter home from school and she said that it was a mental health day. My daughter is 12. She was 11. Mental health day. Like, what does an 11-year-old need a mental health day for? And I'm not judging my ex-wife for this, but what she said was, well, you have bipolarism. Your mom and dad have anxiety and depression. I'm an extremely anxious person. I'm on medication for it. My parents, I was like, you know what? No, like we're not going to put that on our daughter. Like that's a generational curse. We're not going to say, well, we have, so she has to have.
Because we have wisdom.
I'm going to change
techniques
my life, and I'm going to change who I am and how I present myself so that my daughter can see that even if that's inside of her, that she's capable of overcoming that. And so many people walk around pretending to be positive, but then they press into their diagnosis. Well, I've failed before. Well, I've lost 100 pounds 4 times before, so even if I lose, I'm going to put it back on again. If you're saying that, you believe that, and if you believe that, you're right. The person who says they can and the person that says they can't are both usually right.
Right.
So what are you walking around saying?
And the thing is about, Sophie, is we have different tech tools, different techniques. We have different wisdom. God's provided for us in ways that, maybe your parents growing up didn't have,
right.
to provide for you or to provide for themselves. And that curse can be broken in the lineage of Sophie. And we have communicated that to Sophie. We have said, Sophie, you don't have to take that on. You're eating differently. You're exercising regularly. You're doing so many different things that all of these other people did not do. John didn't do that stuff growing up. His parents didn't do that stuff growing up. So she doesn't have to take that on. That's part of her genetic code that doesn't even have to exist. And we claim that for her, and we really work towards that victory for her, for sure. And we pray that for everyone listening, for sure. For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems, a 6-month nutrition program with myself, or a visit with a personal trainer, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free, nutrient-dense baked goods from my personal bakery to you, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. For 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We just got done explaining to you what it means to be a warrior and talked about kind of breaking generational curses and moving through life. And I like to tell people that I believe that there is a genetic predisposition, but not a genetic predestiny. And what I mean by that is everybody wants to talk about having a destiny. And whether you believe in destiny or not, there's varying opinions on that. I believe that God knows what we're going to do with our life. Okay, I believe he knows that. He's all-knowing. He knows ahead of time that it's going to happen. The free will allows us to determine that. And I know that can get kind of trippy in your brain, but what I'm saying is your free will is actually what gets you to where he knows you're going to go. And so you have to decide that destiny. Like you actually have to decide to act upon that. And so instead of saying, well, it's my destiny to be a failure, it's my destiny because my genetic disposition is to be overweight, I'm going to be overweight. My whole family's overweight, so I'm going to be overweight. My whole family has had heart attacks, so I'm going to have a heart attack. So what's the point? Why even fight it? My whole family has anxiety, so I'm going to be an anxious person. Why even fight it? And what I mean by determining your own destiny instead of living out a predestiny is when you know that the genetic predisposition is there, you should actually fight it harder than anybody else around you is fighting it. If you know that you're not good at something that you're going to test on, you are going to study more. If you go to college and you're phenomenal at English, you just accidentally get A's, but you know you also have to pass algebra, you're going to study the algebra. You're going to make yourself better at your weakest link because you don't want to fail college because of one course. You don't want to fail in your business because of one element that you can't control. You don't want to fail your health because of your weakest link. So whatever you see as genetics, whatever you see as being passed down to you, instead of claiming that, fight against it. Go against the headway. Every successful person that I have ever listened to, Andy Frisella included, Debbie mentioned him in the last segment, has had to talk about breaking the patterns of their family. Every one of them. Ed Milet.
Ed Milet. He'll talk about that.
Every single one of them.
Like he was the one that
Eric Thomas
that broke it.
Every single motivational speaker you're talking to. Now,
Les Brown.
I'm not necessarily talking about successful. There are people that are given success by their family members, okay? But then you watch even some of them fall, all right? But every person that's talking about it to try to help other people overcome, they haven't come from something positive. They've come from a genetic and or lineage-based predisposition of not being in a good place. And by all rights, should either be dead, drugged out, poor, broke, in trouble, in prison, and just genuinely messed up, not anything that's actually giving back to society. But that's exactly what they're doing. And what makes them so powerful is their story. You know, it's like every test you go through in life builds your testimony. A powerful testimony comes from taking a lot of tests. And that doesn't mean that you're going to pass everything. It just means that you've had a lot of tests. And the ones that you do pass are what give you the ability to move forward and tell other people how to do it. And so if you're hung up on something right now, you know, Andy Frisella said in the message that we were listening to the other night, he said, I have the genetics of a fat kid. I fight every day to not be fat, you know, and what's fascinating about that is I genetically am predisposed through my family to be overweight. Like my family across the board, if you look at them on aunts, uncles, parents, grandparents, other than my grandpa, is overweight. What's fascinating is my grandfather, who is extremely thin, is who I'm built like. We're both 6'3", 6'4", kind of in that range. My brother's the same range. Everybody else in my family isn't built like that.
And when you were in school, you were pretty skinny.
I am skinny. This is the point I'm about to make, is I am actually a skinny person, and I have to fight to keep size on. But at one point in my life, I was 100 pounds overweight and had a heart attack, as a doctor verbally put it, because I was fat. And so what's interesting about that is I was actually pursuing the same lifestyle of my family. I didn't know about exercise. I didn't do it properly. I didn't eat properly. I ate the same things. I went to the same potlucks. I went to the same restaurants. I had a genetic predisposition to fall into the same category.
Maybe how you dealt with stress too.
Yes, yeah. Stress eating. You know, I had a good day, so I deserve to have this. I had a bad day, so I'm going to have this to make myself feel better. You know, in law enforcement, I would always turn to food. I'd turn to booze. You know, I'd try to drink it away, but you know, my parents weren't drinkers, but I did watch them eat for comfort, yes. You know, and it's like, it's not like I'm blaming them for anything. That's what they saw. That's how they were taught, you know. And so what's interesting is when I figured out that I wasn't feeling well because of what I was consuming, because of my lack of activity, and because of how I was dealing with stress, I broke that. I broke that genetic predisposition to the point that people have asked me if I was sick because of how much weight I lost. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. I mean, the last 11 years, I've even had other health things that have gone wrong, and I've recovered from those. You know, and it's like, from an athletic standpoint, I sit here right now, and it's like I've never been in as good a shape as I am, even in my 20s. You know, so what I'm trying to tell you is, no matter where you are in your life, no matter how far you are into giving into your genetic predisposition, it's not too late. And if your family has history of heart attacks, I'm not going to sit here and try to claim in some magic sense that you won't have a heart attack. But don't you want to take the chance to not? Like, don't you want the opportunity to potentially prevent that or postpone that? So if you're willing to put in the work to be in a better place, I assure you, you can feel better and be more successful than you're giving yourself credit for.
Yeah, there's always the chance that you can turn the dynamic around. It's simple. It's like simple math. Like, if, you know, my parents ate biscuits and gravy and their parents ate biscuits and gravy, and they ate it for breakfast and they ate it for dinner and they put bacon on it, and, you know, they all had heart attacks. I mean, at the end of the day, I just kind of stopped making biscuits and gravy. You know, I got to an age where I was like, I don't think I'm going to eat that anymore. I don't think I'm going to make that anymore. And now my cardiovascular health is different. Doesn't mean I won't still have a heart attack. Maybe just what I did for the first 18 years of my life is so stuck in me that it'll cause something. But I'm going to do my level best to do everything I can to avoid that. And just because your family ate a certain way doesn't mean you can't completely turn that whole thing around. And I'm talking about people that even come from different countries. You know, if your health is not going the direction it needs to go in, your food is your first angle that you want to try to cover to make changes in that. Of course, activity levels, mindset, you know, all of that corresponds with it, but your food is that first thing that you can change. For more information on a 6-month nutrition program with us at Integrity Training Systems or personal training, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208.
For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods from my personal bakery delivered to you, take a look at sophiesbakery.com. And for 100% grass-fed beef, the only meat that the Morris family will eat, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We were just talking about some genetic predisposition in the last segment, if you're just now joining us. And I want to talk a little bit more about that and kind of take that into why do you do what you do in general? I mean, why do you work the job you work? Why are you in the career path you're in? Why do you eat the way you eat? Why do you exercise or not exercise the way you do it? You know, if you are a highly motivated person, what is your why? And I know that's pretty cliche nowadays in the fitness and health industry, because anybody who's touched a weight and has a camera is an influencer now, whatever that is, and they're attempting to tell you, like, find your why, find your drive. And I understand where they're coming from, but you have to go deeper than that. Like, if you're someone who, like Debbie was saying in the last segment, eats biscuits and gravy 3 times a day, why do you do that? You know, and I like to talk to people about what the Bible says about how we're talked to. I really wish that God sometimes would set a bush or a tree on fire and talk to me through a really deep, bassy voice so I knew what he wanted me to do. But that doesn't really happen since, like, the Old Testament. So most times what the Bible says we're spoken to is from a still, silent voice. Okay. And what I always say to my clients is, when something is triggering very loud in your brain, ask yourself where that comes from. And your why should dictate if you choose to act upon that or not. And I'll use a simple example that I think we can all relate to, and that's food. So when you're craving candy, okay, if that's something you struggle with, or just input whatever food you know you struggle with here. I'm going to use candy as mine because it's something that I've fought off and on over the course of my life. And if you're craving that, why? Like, why do you crave that? What does that actually do for you that would make you decide to consume that? And is it God telling me to do it? You know, like, is God saying, go eat sweet tarts? Well, it's a pretty loud voice in my brain. It's probably not him, which means it's one of two things. It's either the enemy whispering to me or it's me myself. If it's the enemy whispering to me, then I need to run away from that as far as I possibly can. And more often than not, that's what's happening, because food is being used to cloud your judgment. I talked about this last week about it being Satan's secret weapon to kill more people in the history of the world than anything else. But if it's not God and it's not the enemy, then it's you. And so you have to ask yourself, are you wanting that to feed your flesh? Is the intention for a really quick hit of dopamine that fades faster than heroin does? Or is the intention to better yourself and actually do the call and purpose that God has on your life, to take care of you, to take care of your family, to take care of the people that you care about, to take care of the things that you're committed to? And if it's anything other than that last one, or God telling you to do it, which I think we ruled out pretty quickly, you really need to stop and consider that and set it aside. You know, and this goes for anything. Like, if you're trying to figure out what you want to do for work and it's not that same element, I'm going to take care of my family, it's because I feel called to do it, I know it's the right thing. Like, you're going to run past a lot of shiny objects in life, and not everything that shines is meant to be used by you. Not everything that shines is going to be a positive situation when you actually get into it. Even in our business, I've watched that, where something seems like a shiny way to produce the next level of what we want to go to, and it actually looks like a shortcut to get there. And what I'll tell you is, most times, if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. So you really need to look at why you do everything you do in life. Are you doing it to better yourself? Is it actually bettering you? And if it's not, how should you be doing it different? Because the definition of insanity is to do the same thing repetitively and expect a different result. So if you have somewhere that you know you want to go, somewhere that you want to be in success, something that you want to accomplish, and what you're doing isn't getting you there, you really got to start to break that down element by element.
I know for me, from a food perspective, and I certainly don't expect anybody else to do this, but with sickness and autoimmunity, and we're talking 25 years of dealing with it, I've always looked at food as like this new, fresh, like hope, okay, if I can adjust my food just a little bit, maybe it'll make lower histamine in my body. Maybe it'll produce less inflammatory. Maybe if I fast, I'll clear, this infection, from my gut or I've always looked at food as like this incredible tactic to like make my life better. But then the other thing I've done with food is I've looked at it like as my way to like be exceptional. So I would set up my food for the day and say, I think I'm gonna have a little bit of fruit there. Or I'm gonna have a little bit of starch there because I'm gonna go work out. Like even coming here, I'm like, what's going to make me super sharp on the radio? What's going to make me more vibrant? What's going to make me have, like more vitality all throughout the day? How can I arrange my food in such a way? Now, I do nutrition for a living, so I might look at it a little bit differently. But I've got clients that come to me and they pay me to do that. And then they go home and they're just as focused and they align things. And then they listen to their body and they say, yes, when I eat this way, I feel more focused. I feel more energized. I feel more clear. And then they repeat that meal. And then they add that spice again, or they add that starch again, or they remove this because it did kind of make them a little bit tired. So, like that, having that why behind what you're doing. A lot of times you could be doing something because of the influence of somebody else. And maybe that's a professional influencer. Or maybe it's just someone that you know and you see them doing it, but that doesn't necessarily mean it works for you. I'll use the example of a pre-workout. Do you take an antidepressant? Do you take an anti-anxiety medication? Pre-workout might actually really mess you up because of all the different amino acids that are in there. Energy drink, it might really mess you up because of all of those amino acids that are in there. I'm not just talking about the caffeine. I'm not talking about the garbage ingredients that get added with it. I'm not even on that high horse. But if you take those medications and then you try to take this, you might be experiencing something later on in that day or the next day, or you may be craving something or going down a path where you're feeding your flesh because you're trying to recover from being depressed, not being able to get out of bed, or being overly anxious or having a panic attack. But at the end of the day, it was actually caused by this other group of ingredients that you had that came in and didn't mix well with those meds. Now, that's just one example. But like, why are you taking the pre-workout? Do you need that pre-workout? Do you need to be that amped up? Okay, maybe if you do, maybe if that's what's working for you, if you're training for something and you need it, then you need it. But is there something damaging in it that could be, pulling you back and actually causing you to suffer? You want to look at your exercise program. You want to look at the dynamic of your schedule and your day and the way you do things in the same manner. Does that exercise program that you're doing, does it serve you? Or is it literally pulling you down to the ground? I have this one program that I do every single day, and I don't usually talk about it because it's like I don't need to talk about it. But the other day, my knee started hurting, and I could just tell John was sort of looking at me like, does it make sense to keep doing the thing that you keep doing every day? But yet my mind was like, I don't care. I'm not stopping it. I don't care that my knee hurts. I'm not stopping it. Well, is that smart? Probably not. But then I was like, okay, work around it. Break it down. What's going on? What's going on with your quad? What do you need to loosen up? Okay, now my knee isn't hurting anymore. I didn't just dive into the pool of quit, all right, which is easy to do, but I also didn't just dive into the pool of tear your knee because you're being stupid and you're not thinking about what you need to do. Because this workout is making me mentally stronger. So I'm not going to quit it. That's my why. And I need that mental strength, but I also need to stretch my quad, foam roll it, and get a massage.
Well, it's like you were saying with the energy drinks, it's like I have a client that comes in, they train with me 3 times a week, and they're on medications for anxiety and depression. They're actually on 3. and they drink an energy drink every time they come and see me. And what's fascinating about it is we've been talking a lot about it lately. Energy drinks are near and dear to my heart. I've had them off and on over the years. They're actually part of what contributed to my heart attack, and yet I've still gone back to them before. It's like that just goes to show you how addictive they are. And he drinks one every workout, but he'll tell you that he doesn't feel any different. He's like, I don't even know why I drink these. I don't get anything out of them anymore. I don't feel amped up. I don't feel the energy from them. It's like I just think I have to drink one to come work out. Why? Like, what is that? I mean, you think about the chemistry of those things and the chemicals and the garbage that you said you weren't even mentioning. He's like, he wants to be healthier. He wants to be thinner. He wants to be more fit, but we're bringing in garbage ingredients and we're not even getting a benefit out of them anymore. Like, it's not like it's a double-edged sword. Like, it is one-sided now. Like, we're getting nothing out of it. So why?
Right.
Why do we do that? And a lot of that has to do with patterning. And it's like how you pattern your day, how you pattern your life is literally going to determine where you end up, you know, and you have to make that decision. You know, it's like I have another client, she's been with me a long time, and she's got a lot of health issues. I mean, a lot of health issues that she struggled with, things that have changed, things that have adapted, things she's overcome, things she's still dealing with. And I remember at one point in time, she said that she wished she had Debbie's autoimmune condition because then she would just eat her food right. And I looked her dead in the face, and I mean, I was dead serious, and I sometimes think people need this kind of like blunt trauma. And I just said, if you had Debbie's autoimmune condition, you wouldn't be here talking to me because you have already ate yourself into your grave. And she just looked at me, and I was like, you have health problems right now that you're eating crap that makes you not feel good, makes you sick, and actually hurts your health to the point where you've had to miss me, you've missed vacations, you've gone to the hospital. It doesn't change it for you. Like, Debbie doesn't eat the way she eats because she has to. Debbie eats the way that she eats because she decided to overcome the negative effects of her condition. And so it's still a decision. Like, Debbie she's not a robot. A lot of people think that. It's like she smells pizza, she wants freaking pizza. She's tasted it before. She had it growing up. She sees biscuits and gravy. She wants biscuits and gravy. You know, Debbie has drank wine before. Debbie has had, like, there's a lot of things that Debbie has tasted, had, or consumed. And people are just like, well, you know, she's got that condition, so she doesn't do it. Okay, that's her why, but it's still a decision. So, you know, don't look at other people and be like, well, if I had that, then I probably would too. It's like, that's nonsense.
Well, actually, a lot of people might have it and don't know it. I mean, there's so much
this
undiagnosed autoimmune.
Kind of my point. You know, It's like you don't want to
tests aren't even being run for it.
Right. You don't want to think that way because what you're doing is allowing yourself to fail where you're failing. You're telling yourself that listen to that. It's just wild. Because you don't have it as bad as that person, you're failing. Like, if you don't have it as bad as that person, you should be doing better.
I actually rebuke the diagnosis. I actually just am like, no, I'm not having it.
Right.
I refuse to have
kind
it.
of the same thing I do.
I'm not having an autoimmune disease.
That's right.
Because I'm living with
and
I'm overcoming it, and I just get mad enough that I'm like I'm sick of it. I'm not dealing with this anymore, and I just stay healthy and I stay focused, and I don't own any one particular thing for my body other than a vision of health. And I fight my way through it. I just, so nobody wants it. I can assure you of that. But I won't own it. I won't have it. I'll just keep focusing on being as well as I can and do all the things I can for that. And food is my number one catalyst to good health and consistent health. For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems with our 6-month nutrition program or personal training, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods from my personal bakery, take a look at sophiesbakery.com, and 100% grass-fed beef, take a look at fedfromthefarm.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is John and Debbie Morris with Integrity Training Systems on Real Talk 93.3. We've had a exciting show so far, talking about deciding to do what you do and what's causing you to do the things you do. And just want to continue to kind of press into that to drive home to everybody that's listening. Like, you actually have an opportunity right now with this show before it's over to decide to do something different than what you've been doing. You know, if you're hung up on your food and you're thinking like, man, I really just blew it and it's Saturday and, you know, I'm going to get started on Monday. Why not start for dinner? Like, are you driving home right now and deciding that you got to figure out what you're going to eat? Start now. If you wait till Monday, you're not going to do it. I mean, I tell people all the time, I'm like, the best day to start doing something new is yesterday. The second best day is actually today, and the worst day that you can start is tomorrow. For two reasons. One, if you keep telling yourself you're going to start tomorrow, you're not going to do it. And the second thing is you're not even guaranteed a tomorrow. So while you're alive and you have a moment, you should do what you can do to give yourself the best life that you possibly can. So whether it be your food, whether it be exercise, whether it be spending time with your family, like whatever you know you're lacking in, whatever conviction is in your heart that is a positive thing that you know you're not accomplishing, what do you need to change to make that happen?
And I think this is just something that's on my heart because I feel like I've been hearing it a lot lately is, I don't know, at 8 o'clock at night, you know, I do really good all day long. And then 8 o'clock at night, I start craving something.
Well, then you didn't do good all day long.
Right.
I mean, that's part of your day. Just
It's
so you
true.
know.
The during the day may be out of balance, or you probably wouldn't be craving that at 8
Well,
o'clock.
that's true. But
You
what
know.
I'm saying is you cannot even say I did really good all day long if you don't do good in the evening. And I'm not trying to come at you really hard here, but don't give yourself that positivity. That's a participation ribbon.
Right.
You actually didn't finish the race.
Right.
The race ends at the end of the day. Your day is the duration of time that you're awake. So if you're saying I did really good during the day, but then I craved something, had something bad in the evening, don't give yourself that much of a victory. Say, I know I can be better and I'm going to overcome this.
And the word craving, I guess, is starting to drive me crazy a little bit. I don't know,
Right.
maybe it's just 25 years of doing this, but I'm sort of starting to be like, I might punch a hole in the wall if I hear the word craving
Nice.
again.
That's what I do.
Because I don't want to punch a hole in the wall because it's not really my nature, but I'm just kind of like, you know what? Like, you're going to let yourself need to take that medication every day because you have a craving? Like, you're going to be 100 pounds overweight because you have a craving? I don't know. I guess maybe I'm just getting older or something. But I'm going to tell you right now, and this is a real thing. Lately, I have been craving a Ferrari because I see them all the time. I've been going to this place every week. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
And there's a Ferrari, I'm not kidding, in the parking lot every day when I'm in there. There's a red one. There is a black one. I like the black one. I don't want a red one. I want a black one. I want to be different. I want a Ferrari.
Yeah.
And I think about it regularly. I love cars. I love fast cars.
Right.
I'm not going to get a loan for a Ferrari. I probably could. I bet I would approve for it.
Right.
And I think I could afford the payment. I could probably make the payment, but I'm not going to get it just because I'm craving it every day.
Right.
I also see a 911 in that parking lot that I love, and I want a 911.
Right.
I could afford that, but I'm not going to get it. You just because you crave it doesn't mean you get it.
And it doesn't make sense for you right now.
No,
it's like with our lives.
I'm going to
and
put
where
my kid through college, and then
where
I'm going to
we're-
buy a
and
Ferrari.
where we're trying to go, exactly.
Right.
And so, like, if you're going to bring that even back to food, you might be someone that should never have anything off of clean. But let's just take for a second that you aren't that extreme of a person. Like, lose your 100 pounds. Get your food and your life in order with your discipline, and then on your birthday have something that you shouldn't have.
Christmas.
That's the Ferrari
New Year's.
after
Right.
your kid goes to college.
Thanksgiving.
Because what happens is
4th of
you're
July.
giving into a craving that is ultimately going to completely diminish. I mean, take for example what I said a moment ago. Okay, if you tell yourself I did good for the whole day until this moment, okay, you have allowed that craving to negate a whole day. You allowed a moment to negate an entire day. You worked that hard.
Yes.
For that whole day to lose it to a sound in the back of your brain or a sound from your stomach that says, man, I just really want this. And I'm here to tell you, you can actually fast for multiple days without dying, okay? You can also eat without consuming candy or cake or pie or Pop-Tart or whatever you're craving without dying. So if you're not doing it for sustenance, if it's not actually something that's going to give you energy or promote better sleep or give you a stronger day tomorrow, let's just even say, let's remove the negative effects. It's going to have a negative effect, but let's remove those. Okay. Let's just say that you could eat that and wake up tomorrow and quote unquote, maybe feel okay. If it's not benefiting you though, why?
And I personally feel like the craving, I don't mean to get like hyper technical, but I mean, it kind of is, but like, I guess just because I have to talk to people about this all the time.
Yes.
But I feel the craving is a clouded vision.
Correct.
For what you want bigger in your life.
Right.
You're confused on the bigger vision. You're not seeing the bigger vision anymore. You don't have something better ahead of you.
Right.
So you're settling for this little immediate fulfillment.
Yeah, I mean, that's what
or
people
it's a
say.
Band-Aid.
Like, I had a bad day. You know, I always tell people this. I'm like, it's so fascinating to me. Food is fascinating because food is kind of like, if you talk to really, really, really like top tier billionaire, monetarily successful people, they're usually successful in almost every area of their life. Okay. Andy Frisella said this in his podcast. He said he's never been in a room of billionaires where any of them were extremely overweight. And what he found was they don't have time to be that way because they have to keep their whole body together. They have to keep their whole life and their mind together to be that successful. And ultimately, giving into that promotes that they can't be that successful. And he's like, anyone he's ever met that was that financially stable and overweight, it was from their parents. It was like inherited money, you know. And he's like, now I'm not saying you can't be a millionaire and be overweight. He's like, that happens. He's like, but I'm talking the 1%. He's like, the 1%, they lock that down because they know that they cannot actually see clear on what they want to accomplish or have even the confidence to accomplish it if they're eating poorly. So it's not actually about your weight. Like, this isn't shaming you for being overweight. It's weight follows health. So if you get yourself healthy, don't do it to lose the weight. Do it to be well and let the weight loss be a byproduct. And that health, that wellness will promote propelling you forward in life to where you want to be.
And I think that if that vision is clouded, if you keep focusing on the craving because you don't have something bigger to focus on, something greater to focus on, you also have to consider, like, is it a Band-Aid? Is your craving a Band-Aid?
Yes.
That should you be seeking to grow your faith? Should you be seeking to improve your relationship? Should you be seeking to find another job? You know, like, well, I'm eating because I'm stressed at work. I'm eating because I had an argument with my spouse. I'm eating because, you know, I'm just depressed and down. Okay, let's fix what's broken. Let's fix what you're Band-Aiding. Instead of taking the medicine of the food, let's fix it. Let's try to rebuild your relationship and strengthen the tent posts in your relationship and bring God into it. Let's try to strengthen your faith and get into the Bible and just get real about like what you should be focusing on. Instead of fulfilling the craving, dive in deep and dig in and like really put the work in to improve yourself. If it's the job that's stressing you, let's work instead of putting a Band-Aid on by fulfilling the craving and taking in bad food all the time. Let's work on where's your passion? What should you be doing for a living? Maybe you take an overnight job and you do the overnight job until you can build it and you become that and you get rid of that job that's stressing you so much. But the cravings will only cloud the vision more. It'll only continue to keep you from healing, and you'll always need the Band-Aid. You'll always need the crutch. You'll always need to fulfill the craving, and you'll never be happy. The craving will never satisfy you.
All addiction occurs in moments of lacked vision. So whatever you're addicted to, whether it be a drug, pornography, something that you have shame on, anything you do that you feel bad. If you have to tell someone you ate something you shouldn't have, you drank a beer when you don't want to be an alcoholic, you smoked a cigarette when you don't want to smoke, any addiction, watching too many movies instead of spending time with your kids. I'm not talking about recreation. I'm talking about something you know you do that you shouldn't do. Addiction happens in moments of lacked vision. If you can have a vision for the success that you know you should be pursuing, you'll quit doing the crap that's hindering you and you'll actually chase the success, because the momentary success that you're getting through giving into the addiction is a quick fix blind spot to prevent you from going to where you're trying to go.
For more information on what we do at Integrity Training Systems, take a look at integritytrainingsystems.com or give us a call at 636-299-2208. For gluten-free, dairy-free baked goods delivered to your door, take a look at sophiesbakery.com and 100% grass-fed beef fed from the farm.com. Thank you for listening. God bless you.